Hey everybody, welcome back to the Working Man's Whiskey. I'm Bobby. Guys, really excited about this review here today. As I mentioned at the end of my last review, I was going to go Jim Beam next, and I was really excited to get this one on here. The other day after work, I went to Rayleigh's, which is a grocery store here in California. I'm sure it's in several other states as well. But went into Rayleigh's. I do every once in a while. They're really expensive as far as groceries go. I mean, they got good stuff, but they're pretty expensive for me. But one thing that they do have is a great liquor department, and they seem to get a lot of different kinds of whiskey that other places don't seem to have. So went in there and saw a pallet of this whiskey right here, sitting at the front of the liquor aisle. And no price on it or anything. Jim Beam Repeal batch. And really wanted to try it out, so wasn't sure how much it was going to cost me. Got up to the register, and out the door, I paid $10.85 for this bottle. And I couldn't have been more excited. I mean, that's awesome. Anything Jim Beam puts out, I'm going to try it out because I love Jim Beam. Between Jim Beam and Jack Daniels, I've said it on here before, but I'm a Jim Beam guy. They have great stuff. I don't care too much for their flavored whiskeys. As far as, I've tried their vanilla on here before. It was a little too sweet for me. They have apple and the honey one, and I believe they have a cinnamon one. I'm not really into all that, but as far as bourbon goes, I love their bourbons. The white label's okay. It's more for, in my opinion, more for cocktails. I love Old Crow, guys. You guys know I think Old Crow is one of the best bargain whiskeys there is. It's $10 here, and I think that's a great deal. Same as this one here. Not sure how this is going to be. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm hoping this is a steal because it's a limited edition, and if I like it enough, like I usually do with Jim Beam, I'm going to go back and get a few more bottles of this before they sell out. Because, $10.85, this was cheaper than the white label is here in California at least where I'm from. So, white label's usually about $13 or so here for the 750. So, anyway, this was $10.85, and Jim Beam just, I feel like they don't let me down too often. Don't care for those flavored ones, like I said, but if we're talking anything from the Old Crow to Knob Creek, Basil Hayden's, Bakers and Booker's, they put out some great stuff. So really looking forward to trying this one out today. My buddy Adam sent me I think he sent me a picture of this a few months back that he had gotten a bottle, but he lives in Kentucky, so I'm sure it's a little more readily available out there. Haven't seen it here in California before the other day, so wasn't going to pass it up, guys. Had to try it out, had to make this my next review, and I'm looking forward to telling you about it. And for kind of a reference point, they are a little bit different. Same mash bills as far as I know, but different in the in the process of how they made them, mainly the filtration process. They're different, but I want to try it out. Use this as a reference point. I got a little tiny bottle of Jim Beam White here, so we'll see how it is, guys. I mean, Jim Beam's pretty consistent with all of their stuff. You know when you're drinking Jim Beam. So we'll take a little taste of the white, next to this here Repeal batch. So let's talk a little bit about this Repeal batch. I'll read the label in just a second, but as I mentioned, it's non-chill filtered. I think I mentioned it's non-chill filtered. After they take it out of the barrel, after the aging process, Instead of using the normal filtration process, they dilute it with water still, but they're not taking out any of the they're not filtering out any of the the fats that occur during the process of the aging process and all that. They're not taking the oils or fats out, and it's just more of a pure product. I haven't tasted this yet, so I can't say for sure, but I kind of wish they hadn't diluted it all the way down to 86 proof. But it's that's what it is, guys. I think 86 is right near where they were when they started back up after Prohibition. So that's probably why they went with this proofing. Reading the label, it says 86 proof and non-chill filtered Jim Beam Repeal batch is inspired by the way we made it after Prohibition. That means all nuances of flavor gained through the interaction of the whiskey and the barrel remain for you to enjoy. Because it is not chill filtered, it may appear cloudy or contain sediment at the bottom, just like it did back in the 30s. And the other side says, this limited edition bourbon is a tribute to the 85th anniversary of Prohibition's repeal, when it ended on December 5th, 1933. So, shoot guys, we're coming up on almost exactly 85 years to the day. Today's December 1st. Not sure, as always, when I'll have time to get reviews on here. So if I waited until the 5th, chances are I probably wouldn't have gotten this review on here. So anyway, it says James B. Beam and his family rebuilt the distillery in just 120 days. This brought the Beam family recipe, and some say bourbon itself, back to life. All right, guys. So as I mentioned, this is 86 proof as opposed to the regular 80 proof, 40% ABV on the white label. I believe they have the same mash bill, as far as I know, which is 77% corn, 13% rye, and 10% malted barley. So, and looking at them in the, it's hard to say for sure, but in the bottles here, I can already tell you this looks a little bit darker. Not sure if it's aged any longer. I think it's probably aged about the same 4 years that the white label is. The big difference, as I said, between these two is this one here, the Repeal batch, being non-chill filtered. So, you're going to taste more of those, as I said, more of those fats that occur during the aging process, during the distillation process and all that. You're going to just get more of the pure flavor of what they had in the barrel. Although, as I said, it's still diluted down to 86 proof. So let's try them out, guys. Okay, so Jim Beam White is going to go in this one right here. Just a little bit of white. You got the water there to cleanse the palate a little bit. All right. Let's just go. Yeah, it's still a good, solid, not quite a double, but it's getting there. All right, guys, so here we go. Let's just look at the white real quick. It's actually, it's kind of funny. In the bottle, the Repeal looks a little bit darker, but in the glass, they look pretty darn close to the same color-wise. So, and I will say, even though it said there may be some sediment in the bottom of this bottle here, I didn't see any sediment in there. And as far as cloudiness, let's see. I don't really see a whole lot of cloudiness either. A little bit of sediment, actually. There's a little bit going on there. So, and they're both, they both have the same, they have some legs to them, I guess. Yeah, there's a little bit of stick to the glass. The white label's got a little bit of a faster drip to it. This one's clinging on a little bit more, so as I would expect. So let's take a nose on the new one here. This is the Repeal batch, guys. And right away, I know that it's Jim Beam. It smells. They have a certain smell to their products, and it's a good smell. It's got that roasted peanut type note to it. You get some vanilla in there, some spice. All right, that's the white label. All right, and what I'm noticing more in the Repeal batch here is the spices. In the regular white label, we get a little bit of a rye spice. In the Repeal batch, you're getting more baking spice, more cinnamon, more nutmeg, and clove type notes to it. Get a little bit of a caramel type note to it. Definitely some sweet corn. There's more. As I said, I don't know the age on the Repeal batch, but it smells a little more mature than the white label does. The white label has a little bit of that, just a little bit of that rawness to it, a little more so. Let's take a sip of the white. And the white, guys, tastes like Jim Beam white. I mean, it's consistent. It always tastes the same. Never changes, but it's a little thin on the mouthfeel. Just a little bit one-dimensional. Not a whole lot to it. You got some sweet corn. You get a little bit of that roasted peanut. Some of that more of that rawness to it. A little bit of pretty much what you're getting is corn sweetness, that roasted peanut, just a little tiny bit of a rye spice to it, a little bit of wood, a little bit of a grain, like a hay note to it. But and those are all good things, nothing wrong with them, but I feel like it's kind of a one-trick pony compared to a lot of other Beam products. So let's put this one to the side. Take a little sip of water here. All right. Now for the Repeal. Yeah, just more of that baking spice to it. It's got a nice nose. It really does. Nothing too crazy as far as like, wow, that's. I mean, it's not gonna knock your socks off, but it's got a nice smell to it. Nothing bad. Let's take a taste, guys. Yeah, guys, definitely more going on in the Repeal batch. It's got that baking spice. It's got more of the Jim Beam notes that the white label has. It's got those notes, but stronger, more magnified. It's got that roasted peanut still. One of the trademark things I love about Jim Beam. It's a good note. I love peanut brittle, and it's got that peanut brittle note to it. All right. Yeah, it's just overall, to me, a slightly better whiskey. I don't know what I've given Jim Beam white label in the past for a grade. I'm probably always changing it because, I guess it just depends on how I'm feeling, but my tastes have kind of leaned away from the white label a little bit and more towards their other products. So I'm gonna take another taste of the white, give it a grade, and then give the Repeal batch a grade. Shoot, and after having that Repeal batch, that white label, hate to say it, is kind of a letdown. It doesn't taste bad, but there's just not much going on with it. One dimensional, just not a whole lot there. So the white label, I'm going to give the white label, just because it is consistent, it's got a fair taste to it, but just not a whole lot of, not a whole lot to it. I'm going to give the white label an 82 out of 100. I'll finish it up here and then I'll go for the Repeal. So 82 out of 100 for the white label. All right. Yeah, I really enjoy this nose. You're getting some of those, not just sweet corn, but a little bit of I get a little bit of a brown sugary type note to it. Maybe even a little bit of a slight maple, sweetness. But everything's in check. Not too sweet, but it does have a little bit of sweetness. Not too spicy, but it definitely has those baking spices to it. Everything is nicely balanced there. So, take a sip. It's still, to be honest with you, the Repeal batch is still a little bit thin for how I like my whiskey. Although maybe it's because the weather's getting a little bit colder. I've been finding myself, liking a little bit of a higher proof, a little more thickness to my bourbon these days. This is the time of year. You're getting into these cold months, these cold, rainy months, that I like to, get my hands on a bottle of Baker's or Booker's, when it comes to Jim Beam. Just something a little more, with a little more heft to it. But I do like this. I really like this. And take this last sip and give it a grade. Good whiskey, guys. Good solid whiskey for $10. I mean, for $10, I'll tell you what I would give it if it was $18, as most people are paying, what I've been hearing people are paying for it. If it was $18, I'd give this an 84 out of 100. 84 out of 100. But it being $10, I really do enjoy this. I wish the proofing was a little bit higher on it. I think they maybe overly diluted it, in my opinion. But still a good whiskey, and I recommend trying it out. I'm going to give this one an 86 out of 100. 86, I think it's a good score for this one here. Nothing wrong with it, guys. Nothing wrong with it as far as taste goes, but I just wish it was had a little more punch behind it. If it was, I'm going to say if it was in the low to mid 90s for proofing, that would be about where I'd want to see this one. So, good whiskey, nonetheless, and I recommend trying it out if you get a chance. That's it for this one, guys. Not sure when I'll be back. I got a trip coming up this week, going to a place called Truckee here in California. Going to take the kids to the snow, go there with my wife and some friends of ours. And it's also going to be kind of a birthday getaway, my birthday being the week after, but kind of in the middle of the week. So looking forward to getting out of town for a few days, and but looking forward to getting back as well. And guys, on this trip, if I have a chance to do a little review while I'm out there, maybe I'll do a review from the snow. Who knows? Look forward to talking to y'all soon, though. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And definitely looking forward to my next review, guys. Going to be a blended scotch next time. So looking forward to talking to y'all soon. Until next time, cheers.